Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the People's L Pod. This is Lawrence. As always, I'm joined by Logan. Logan, what's happening?
And we're back. I'm excited. We got some big stuff coming up. I've got a great guest coming up. I'm glad we were able to get her before this weekend, Sunday, so we can talk about a pretty big event coming up. Also, my first singles match. I don't look back on it fondly. I thought it was really bad because she was way better than I was at the time. But we get to talk about what she's been doing, what's going on, what's coming up.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking forward to talking about that match. I was there in person for that. I did see that. And obviously, like you mentioned, a very big event. And it's good to get this person before this event because afterwards she will probably be way too big to come on and talk to us. So without further ado, let's bring on the master of the Rain City stretch, Liiza Hall. Liiza, what's happening?
Not much. I'm just kind of settling in now. So thanks for having me on your podcast, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for doing it. I know we reached out a couple of weeks ago. Pretty excited to talk to you about Terminus coming up Sunday, the 16th. Kind of really excited just to get into how that all came about for you, getting involved with that show. Is this going to be your first kind of big show in the States, not in the Pacific Northwest area?
Yeah, so before COVID, I was really only wrestling in Seattle and Oregon. I think I had done California once.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's even going to be my first time back in the States since COVID started. So
Oh, wow.
it's pretty big.
Yeah, how did this come to be? I mean, like you said, you hadn't really traveled out the West Coast, and now you're going to be down in Atlanta.
Yeah, so I met Gresham a couple years ago at a seminar, and I've been talking to him for a while and whatever. And then in December, he called me up and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be on this Terminus show?" And I was like, "Whoa, like that's pretty awesome." Yeah, like it kind of just came out of nowhere, really.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good person to stay in contact with us. Pretty much since this ROH run has ended, we've started seeing this guy pop up all over the place. Was this like when you met him? Was this at like a 3-2-1 show back in the day?
Yeah, so he did like a seminar at a 3-2-1 show. I think it might have been after Battlemania or like
Yeah.
yeah, right after Battlemania. But yeah, it was a pretty sweet seminar, and then I just kept in touch because we both do like very similar styles, and I really
Yep.
love technical wrestling, so I got to ask questions and learn and just kind of yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask that. I was listening to Gresham. He was on Chris Jericho's podcast talking about the show coming up, and he was talking about how he wanted to bring a lot of wrestlers kind of that had the same mentality, the way he thought about wrestling, really introduce like rules again, that very mat-based grappling style. And I noticed, so that's something I noticed right before COVID kind of hit. You did really start going really heavy into that style of wrestling, especially in
Mhm.
like 3-2-1 and stuff going around. What kind of influenced you into that style?
Well, I did a lot of high school wrestling, and then once I started training, I wasn't really sure like who I wanted to be, what kind of wrestling I wanted to do. And then I started watching like Zack Sabre Jr. and then like Daniel Makabe, who's a
Mm-hmm.
local here, and I was like, that's the stuff that I want to do. So I just started like watching a whole bunch of like their kind of stuff, and then the first match where I really got to like do a lot of technical wrestling was with Makabe at 3-2-1,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's definitely still one of my favorite matches for sure.
Yeah, very cool. So you mentioned that you were a high school wrestler, and then you started wrestling. So was Makabe? Was he actually one of your trainers? Or were you trained by someone else?
No, so my mom was a wrestler, and so I had just kind of like grown up around it my entire life,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah. So I started training when I was like 15, 14, 15, and then I had my first match when I was 17. Yeah,
Oh my
17.
God.
Yeah,
So
so
how
I
long?
started.
So how long ago would that have been now?
So I had my first match in 2015, September 2015. So it's
Okay.
just a little over 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a very nice way of asking her how old she was, Logan.
I was trying to
Oh, I
get
guess
around that. I was trying to get around that.
did not catch that.
Yes. So when you started wrestling up there, what promotions were you primarily started wrestling for?
Yeah, so I started wrestling for All Star Wrestling. I was trained by Michelle Starr, who ran that promotion.
Mhm.
And then after they had a school, and then they kind of closed their school, and I started training with Lionsgate Dojo.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask if you got involved with Lion Gates Dojo and any kind of training. So when your mom was wrestling, was she that was up in the Pacific Northwest too? I'm guessing.
Yeah, she was mainly Pacific Northwest. She would go like travel across Canada, but she never really did too much in the States or other places because she had kids, right? So I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
So would she have been doing it around the time when like the Becky Lynches and all those names were kind of up there and coming through? Were you around it around that kind of time?
I think she had come back, I think just after that. So
Okay.
she started in like 91 and then took a break when she had me and my other sister. So
Yep.
I think she came back to wrestling around 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
outside of Michelle Starr, who were some of your favorite opponents up there to wrestle?
Ooh, that's a hard one. There's so many people like up here, just specifically like in the Vancouver area, who are so
Mhm.
good. But I really like wrestling Nicole Matthews.
Mhm.
She's awesome. Makabe is one who's really good. Travis Williams is super good too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and so I think when I first got really familiar with your wrestling, obviously through 321, you were doing a lot of tag team stuff with Bambi Hall.
Yeah.
And you guys, I just from the first time I saw you guys' entrance with the music, the little confetti guns, the crowd goes crazy. Um, Obviously, you guys were a really good tag team. Do you prefer like the tag team wrestling with Bambi? Do you prefer the single stuff? What kind of direction are you really trying to go?
Well, I love wrestling with my sister. Like she's my
Yeah.
real life sister. I have so much fun. Like it just feels natural when we go
Hmm.
out there together, and just everything about tag wrestling is so much fun. But at the moment, I'm really working on my single stuff,
Hmm.
working on my like individuality and wrestling as my own person right now.
Yeah, and she's doing some refing now for new. Is that what she's mainly doing right now, or is she still?
Yeah, so she refed their last two shows, and then she's actually going to be wrestling on with me in a tag match on News show in February.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's just kind of getting herself back into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's it been like? I guess especially being on the Canadian side of the border with COVID, it's been a lot tougher for you guys
My goodness.
um with the wrestling stuff because you guys weren't didn't get to be very involved with like the SOS stuff that they tried getting going off the ground here very
No.
much, but new popped up and it like exploded on the scene, and now
Hmm.
stuff's like getting rough again. So what's that kind of been like?
So like at first, obviously, there was like literally nothing we could do. Even when we saw stuff like running in the States, it's like super hard for Canadians to get over the border,
Hmm.
especially during COVID. So it was a little lame just having to watch everybody wrestle and like be super awesome. But now that New has started running their own shows, Rob Fye is the owner of that, and he's been super awesome and just like trying to get everybody matches and putting on these huge like amazing shows. And it's been super cool just getting to be a part of that company and kind of watching it grow.
Yeah, and grow really quick too, because they're only what, like 5 or 6 shows in, and already the production level is like top notch. The set, like the stage and stuff, looks probably better than any like most indie promotions have going.
Yeah, it's like it's insane. Rob is such a like a hard worker. I don't know how he's gotten so far already, whereas some
Hmm.
indie companies who've been running for decades aren't even like that far in, you know?
Yeah, and it seems like too he wants to bring in. I noticed Mark Wheeler, right? He came in.
Mhm.
He's not from that northwest, I guess, western side of Canada. I feel like a lot of Americans, when we think of Canada, we all just assume all of you guys are like in the same area. But
Yeah.
it seems like I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know the geography expertly, but like the Ontario scene where you
Hmm.
see like the Ethan Pages and those guys, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of cross between you guys in Vancouver and them. Is it a goal of his to try to kind of blend that a little bit?
I think so. Like for a long time, people from BC and like people from Ontario kind of, I don't know, didn't really travel very far and like
Yeah.
didn't merge between them. But I think Rob is really trying to get people from all over Canada to come. So like we have people, lots of people from Ontario coming over, people from
Hmm.
Alberta and Saskatchewan, and it's really cool to see the Vancouver women's division grow, especially with all the girls who are coming over from Alberta and
Hmm.
Ontario. I think we had maybe 4 or 5 girls living in BC who were like a constant. And
Hmm.
it's nice to get like new girls here to wrestle, some new faces.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
recently saw a poster that they had posted on Twitter. I think it had like I think it was like 12 girls or something. It's like maybe we should
Hmm.
start looking for a champion. So
Right? Yeah. I know. How do you double our females division in like 6 months?
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah,
So obviously, so during COVID, there wasn't a whole lot you could do, but I did see you got to get down to Mexico.
I did. Yeah, that was an amazing experience. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that, what that experience was like down there training. It seems like you went down with like Eli Surge, right?
Hmm.
I think there's a couple other people I'm blanking on off the top of my head, but what was that experience like training down there, doing shows like that down there?
Yeah, that was amazing. This style, the mentality, like everything in Mexico is completely different than what it is up here. You can train like 5 days a week at like I don't even know. There was 4 different gyms that we would go to pretty regularly,
Hmm.
and there would be classes all day from like 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. and it's all different trainers all day. So being able to get to train with different people like Skyday, Ricky Marvin, Negro Navarro, that was
Hmm.
super like insane. It was mind blowing.
Yeah, and was that a style you were kind of familiar with before going down there, or did you pick up a lot of kind of new tricks?
I definitely picked up a lot of new tricks for sure. I'm not I would say rope savvy per
Hmm.
se. But I got to learn a lot of little technical things that if I hadn't like been shown how to do them, then I don't know if I would have ever caught on to them, you know?
Hmm.
But yeah.
yeah. So when you guys went down there, did you guys? I know you mentioned obviously you're training from 8 to 9. Did you guys have a set plan, or was it like, hey, let's just go to this school this day, or let's go to this school the next day, or was there kind of like a course syllabus, I guess, where it was like, hey, you're
Uh,
going to train with this person per designated period and so on and so on.
No, not really. I mean, we all went down there, and it was Sweet Daddy Soul who kind of organized it all and put us up in a Airbnb, and he kind of showed us a whole bunch of different people that we could train with in schools, and then we all just kind of picked which classes that we really liked and which trainers that we liked learning from, and we just kind of all did our own thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the
Yeah.
Mexican independence scene like down there? Is it?
Oh my goodness, it's huge. It's huge. Like you could do 3 shows in a day if you really wanted to.
Oh wow.
And like yeah, so like the summer till about October, I think it is like pretty busy for shows, and then December till like February is pretty dead. Like they
Hmm.
don't do a lot, and then it just ramps up over the spring and summer.
Wow. How many shows did you guys get to wrestle on down there?
So I was there for 2 months. I think the first 3 weeks I was just training, and then September I had about 5 matches.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah,
good. And how's the
yeah,
crowd? How's the crowd like receptive to you guys coming down? Were they pretty into like everything you guys were doing?
yeah. So like, just because we were Canadian, they would always like put us on the posters, and it was kind of like, holy shit, there's like Canadians down here during COVID. Like, let's go watch what the Canadians can actually do kind of thing.
Very
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So I gotta ask. Everyone's been talking about this first singles match of the baby.
Oh man.
Oh my
Yes, we gotta
gosh.
know. Like you've been in the ring with Logan. I don't know how
Yeah.
I remember, but he shows up and they're like, "Hey, you're on the card." So how was that kind of stretching this guy and working this guy out in this first match there?
Honestly, I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun doing it. I think I was like 2 years in when we did that match.
Yeah.
And when they asked me, they were like, "Hey, so we have something that we want you to do, kind of." And I was like, "Okay." They're like, "We want you to work a giant baby."
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell? What do you even mean? He
Yeah.
wears a diaper. He has a susu.
Yeah. Well, just imagine them pitching that to you as we want you to be a giant baby. Like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how we'll
Right?
make that work, but it was interesting. We got to play with the wrestling figures, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was a I'm sure it was probably a strange match for you to put together, and that was my first ever one. So I was like, how do I go to? Because at that time everyone that worked 3-2-1 battle regularly, I like just was 100 times better than I was. So I was like, well, okay, I gotta go.
No, I mean, for what you said, it was your first singles match.
That was probably like my second match in front of a crowd ever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't judge those matches too hard.
No, no, no.
Like your first couple matches, they're gonna be poop. But I had a lot of
Yeah,
fun doing that one.
yeah, it was different. At
Yeah,
least you didn't have to wear the diaper.
thank God. No, I
Yeah.
just wore tassels instead. So
All right, but so let's talk about Terminus coming up. Janai
yeah.
Kai, your opponent. How much have you seen a lot of her stuff?
I have. I've been watching her like nonstop for the last week. And I
Yeah.
had seen some of her stuff before. And as soon as like the people who were on the card started getting announced, as soon as I saw her name, I was like, yeah, that's who I want to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did they kind of put you guys together, or did you get a little bit of like, hey, I kind of did you get to talk and say, hey, that's kind of who I want to work, or was that Gresham's vision the whole time?
Yeah, no, I didn't really say anything at all.
Yeah.
That was kind of just what they put me in, and I was like super excited about it.
Yeah. Well, have you, as far as you know, I mean, obviously they're starting this up. I mean, are they planning on doing more shows like monthly, like every couple of weeks? Do you know anything like that?
I have no idea, but cross my fingers. I would love to go down there and wrestle for them like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I really hope that they do keep this going because having just like a technical show is so different and so cool that I think it could get a lot of traction really quickly.
Yeah, and hopefully this turns into a thing too. Because is it? I mean, would it be fair to say this might be like one of the biggest shows that you've wrestled on in terms of like viewership outside of just the Pacific Northwest, where you're getting eyes on you, or hopefully it could open some more doors for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. I think this is a big opportunity for me to get my name out there and start trying to get out to the East Coast at least.
Yeah, and because you said it was hard for you guys to get over to the states to wrestle, and now stuff is like shutting down for you guys again. But are you
Hmm.
guys able to get booked to come over here? Like outside, you're doing this show, it's a bigger show. I don't know if that changes things a little bit, but what are the opportunities like for you guys right now to get over here?
To get down to the States right now, it's really hard because you have to get a COVID test, I think 24 hours before or
Hmm.
like within 24 hours. And then also just like they don't want you traveling anywhere right now, right? So they
Hmm.
kind of make it a little bit more difficult. Like in
Yeah.
BC right now, we're technically in a lockdown.
Hmm.
Like you can't go to restaurants unless you have like your vaccine passport.
Hmm.
And then all of our gyms are closed. You're not really allowed to have parties or gatherings. So
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it hasn't rolled back like that down here yet. And
No.
You're going to go to Georgia and you're going to think, well, I guess you're going to another country, but you're going to really think you're in another country because it's not like Washington. I'll say that.
Oh no.
That's for
No.
sure. I am saying in terms of masking and just kind of how they treat things like that. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's a little different. Have you guys been kind of watching what's going on in the Pacific Northwest? Because obviously um the scene has kind of gotten crazy on this side in Seattle. You got different promotions popping up. You got new faces popping up. Have you guys been kind of paying attention? Have you seen anybody that you maybe haven't really had a chance to work with that now? And this is something we kind of bring up every time we talk to either like a Buddy Wayne person or 321 person. Because prior to COVID, there wasn't a whole lot of that crossing. Like if you were a 321 person, you didn't really get to work Buddy Wayne people and vice versa. Is there people now that you see you may have a chance to wrestle that you really haven't gotten to that you're looking forward to?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, with Seattle and Washington just kind of starting to boom right now, like the whole PNW scene is getting really big. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Danica Della Rouge is somebody who I've never wrestled before, but
Oh wow.
like I super want to. And it's crazy that I haven't gotten to wrestle her yet because we've been
Yeah.
on so many of the same shows.
wow. So I know obviously new they rescheduled this weekend. I mean, are shows still happening
Mhm.
up there? I know you're the reigning 365 global champion.
Mhm.
Are they still running at all?
Yeah, so 365 is actually running a show this Friday in Victoria. So I'm going to be on that show. I'm going to wrestle Angelica for the title.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are actually canceling their shows right now because I think it's beginning of December. They made it so that all events have to be 50% capacity. And so it kind of like hurt everybody. So everybody pretty much had to cancel their shows. I think there was three shows, two or three shows up here that got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it kind of hurts everybody, but there's not a lot that you can do about it, right?
No, there's not. You just kind of got to roll with it. So I mean, at least
Yeah.
sounds like some are running.
Yeah.
Because even here, Whack just they announced they canceled their show this month
Yeah, this afternoon
coming
I
up.
saw that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's getting crazy again, but
Mhm.
as long as you can get to work where you get to work, and I mean,
Right.
got probably the biggest show coming up. So
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm so stoked for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Like, do you think like you must have made a pretty big impression on Gresham if he remembered you, all these years later, to think like,
Yeah.
hey, that's what I got to get on my the first show I'm running. I want Liiza Hall on it.
Yeah, I mean, I must have. I don't know what I did, but yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always exciting to see people like yourself and those talents up there that don't get a lot of those looks finally starting to kind of break out. And we talked to like Matt Beck and some people that run shows up there, and we always tell them like, you guys better get used to having these talents while you can, because pretty soon a lot of you guys are gonna be a lot harder to book.
I hope so. Yeah, it's really nice. It's affirming to see that other people are actually watching and noticing that
Mm-hmm.
other people are working hard, especially in this area, because we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of people who grind, and they're finally gonna get to go somewhere now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to plug? Obviously, we got Terminus coming up Sunday. You and Jana
Hmm.
Kai. Is there anything else that you got going or coming up soon that you'd like to let people know about?
Ooh, what else do I have coming up? I think that's like the big thing for me right now. I have 365 coming up on Friday evening in Victoria. That's going to be sweet. And then Terminus on Sunday. Other than that, I'm kind of just waiting it out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
This is
Where can
yeah, this is
people
cool.
find you out on the socials? We like to get those
Oh,
plugged.
yeah. Everything is Liiza_Hall. So it's super easy.
With two eyes, right?
Yes, two eyes.
Two eyes.
Very cool. Well, yes, like I mentioned, coming up Sunday the 16th, it's on Fight TV. Check out the very first Terminus show. Liiza Hall, she's going to represent the Pacific Northwest proud in all of British Columbia. and she's gonna go out there and kill it. She's gonna get invited back on all the shows.
Yeah.
Cross my fingers.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Liiza. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's fucking legendary. Crack it open.